What's happening, family? This is your girl, Megan. Welcome back to the Hood Astro Queen, to all of my returning subscribers. But if this is your first time joining me on today, be sure to hit that subscribe button on your way in because you know you want to. So today, I'm doing another free reading. I know I said the last free reading was the last one. I lied. This will absolutely be the last one for at least a week or so because I really have some work I have to get done. But I want to leave some pretty entertaining content for you guys to sink your teeth into in the meanwhile. So I thought this one was a pretty good one. Now, I received this one from a woman by the name of, we're going to call her Fruit, okay? Because her name is a fruit, but I don't know if she wants me to disclose her information. Now, her email reads, "My younger Cancer sun brother, since getting married, has been extremely distant. Only comes around family a few times a year, and when he does come around family, he seems stressed but doesn't open up about anything. I feel like he might be going through financial troubles, but he's too prideful to open up. My biggest pet peeve with him lately is wanting to know everyone's business but not spilling any tea on himself in very private life, or wife, rather. He bought a house last year, and sadly, he has not invited our family. His biracial white side, is there often, though. My brother's birthday is July 16th, 1991, at 10 a.m., Gulfport, Mississippi. Oh, my sister-in-law's birthday is August 1st, 1991. I didn't see homegirl's birthday when I first read the email, so I'm definitely going to pull up her chart as well. I don't know her time of birth, Grand Junction, Colorado. A free reading would be a blessing. Well, baby. Oh, and I see your real name down here, so I can share your screen name. Peaches, okay? Well, Miss Peaches, we got you. I got you. So without further ado, let's get started. So as you stated, your brother was born July 16, 1991 at 10 a.m. in Gulfport, Mississippi. M-I-S-S, crooked letter I, crooked letter I. I'm such a dork. Okay, so in this case, he's a Cancer sun, Virgo moon, and Virgo ascended actually with his moon at the 29th degree, girl. He also has his Venus in Mars, just chilling in that first house. So with him being a Virgo ascendant, Libra is on his second house cusp, right? Libra is governed by Venus. So with the second house Lord placed in the first house, and mind you, Venus hates to be in Virgo. Hates it. So with Venus conjoined to Mars in the first house of Virgo, this can actually create somebody who's very poor with finances, and particularly somebody who can spend a lot of money satisfying the wife or trying to satisfy the wife. And it's interesting because looking at the wife's, I haven't put up her chart yet, but judging by her birth date that you provided, she's definitely a Leo. And Leo women can be, just outrageous, to be honest, in the financial department, okay? They can be extravagant, over the top, living beyond their means. Leo women can be off the chain in the finances department. And Venus conjoined to Mars in the first house can absolutely produce a man who he might make money rather quickly, but he spends it very quickly. And he does so in attempts to satisfy the wife or a woman. And this could manifest in him, or as far as your brother is concerned, buying her gifts, giving her money, allowing her to, have an allowance, or giving her certain funds that are supposed to go towards, other important things. Him really being determined to keep her happy, because with this getup, I'm pretty sure she's hard to please. Very fickle. Like I said, Venus hates being in Virgo. So she's probably oh my God, a super complainer, never happy about anything. Everything he does is scrutinized. Everything he does is picked apart. I wouldn't be surprised. So yeah, there's definitely some there. And she could even be the type of person to pick apart his appearance, be so controlling to the point where she even dictates the the way that he dresses, down to the T. And with her being a Leo women do have the tendency to baby their men. Now, before I even pull her chart up, I see that her sun is in his 12th house. And you know that 12th house deals with losses and hidden enemies and the self-undoing. So right there, this highlights the dysfunction of their relationship. And I can tell you now they're not going to stay together. And if they do, it's going to be a very long, painful, uphill battle. So I think as a family member, you just need to hold it down, like hold the fort down and not be the one to, add more stress and pressure on him because he's going through it. He is going through it. But then I also question, I'm wondering whether he has a job or if he does have a job, how stable it is, because he does have indicators of, and this to further bolster the whole point of him having financial issues. For example, his sixth house, he has Saturn in the sixth house of Aquarius, which can be very difficult, significantly difficult at Aquarian energy. And Saturn does govern Aquarius, but the sixth house governs your everyday work-life routine. It could show somebody who has a very long suffering kind of working environment. Or it could produce an inability to really, because there's this deep-seated need for freedom on an everyday level and independence and liberation. So there could be issues actually being confined to a regular job. You know what I'm saying? Like a 9-to-5 type of workspace. And then also he has his midheaven in Gemini, on the 10th house cusp, which once again, due to that Mercury energy, can create a lot of fast-paced, fast-moving, ever-changing scenarios as far as long-term working conditions. But then also with him having, especially this loaded first house in Virgo and that moon at the 29th degree, I'm wondering that could be part of the reason why he's so secretive, because he's worried, constantly worried about what he's going to do. He might have some type of insecurity attached to what he does for a living or the lack thereof, or his job security or something in regards to that. And then also his Mercury is conjoined to Jupiter in the 12th house. So yeah, there's something there. He's definitely worried about, he's very insecure. And that 12th house does deal with secrets too. So that's part of him keeping, his business, especially as it pertains to his finances and maybe even his job, tight-lipped. So there's that. But then also, you mentioned that they got a new house. He has his Black Moon Lilith in his 4th house of Sagittarius. And let me see what aspects it's making, because that right there is not good, especially with the 4th house ruler in the 12th house. I'm questioning whether they're going to keep that house. And I know you wrote me a while ago, you can give me some updates. His Jupiter is squaring his Pluto in the 3rd house. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. Let's see. His Black Moon Lilith is trining his ascendant. So he could be even worried about home issues, issues in regards to the house. He might even be a bit in over his head, you know what I'm saying, as far as that's concerned. His Uranus is conjoined to his Black Moon Lilith. His Uranus is at the 11th degree of Capricorn. And what is that? In his 5th house? Oh, girl. Yeah. I don't see him keeping that house. I feel like that house is bought out of maybe even in a attempt to keep up with the Joneses, you know what I mean? Or to put up or create an appearance, or maybe even at the behest of his wife. But definitely, I don't see him holding on to that. Afflictions to that 4th house, period, can bring issues with your actual home. Yeah, I don't know, sis. That don't sound too promising to me. So keep an eye out for that. And then also, to your point of, you feel like he's distancing himself from your family, I see that he has a lot of indicators in his chart here that he has family issues. And I don't know, and obviously most family issues start with whatever happened in childhood, because particularly with his Pluto in the third house here, that third house deals with siblings. It deals with your early upbringing. So I'm even wondering if you guys got something going on between y'all. Maybe he perceives you to be a certain way, especially, like I said, his Jupiter is squaring his Pluto. So yeah, there's an issue between y'all, or maybe he views the family as, or his siblings anyway. I don't know if you guys have other siblings, but he can view you guys to be overbearing. There could be some power struggles there, issues with jealousy. I mean, I'm not, on either side. Jealousy, deceit, manipulation, all that. And then also, oh my God, he's not going to stay married. They're going to get a divorce for sure. His North Node is at the 18th degree of Capricorn, which makes him a Cancer South Node. His Sun is conjoined to his South Node, y'all. And as a Cancer South Node, especially in a man's chart, in this lifetime, he's not supposed to be married. And I would strongly advise him, especially with that Capricorn North Node. He was put here to be more about his business, to be more so about, and with his North Node sitting in his 5th house, he's here to develop his own talents and his own passions and things that can even help him, carve out his own path as far as like financially or professionally. He's here for that kind of self-actualization, not to be in a family, not to have, and I mean, he might even have kids with him being a Cancer South Node, and he's not supposed to. And unfortunately, the kids are going to get caught up in the mess. And to make it even worse, like I said, his North and South Node are at the 18th degree. And that 18th degree is a very, 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 very challenging number. And I always say this. It brings about lots of nasty character flaws. And the way it works is that you can be on the giving, on the receiving end of that 18 energy. And from, just the looks of his chart, I'm likely to believe he's on the receiving end, where you're surrounded by people who are negative, people with ulterior motives, even narcissists. Once again, with the wife's son in his 12th house of Leo, I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if she was bossy, if she ran that relationship, if she was a narcissist. And that South Node in Cancer is going to, if you deal with people who, ignite or constantly pull you towards that South Node tendency, I mean, he's going to have all kinds of like emotional issues. Drama, you name it. Like their relationship is going to go up in flames. Mark my words. Mark my words. And, but convincing him to not, be this family man lover boy might be very difficult, especially with you guys. He has his Chiron at the 29th degree. Oh my God, of Cancer also. So his Chiron is conjoined to his South Node. And so, which further lets me know that, like I said, there are some family issues, some mommy issues. He's definitely looking for a partner who can serve as a mother to him, who can, and I believe that's what I believe she bosses him around. She treats him like a child. And I mean, yeah. And I said this in my, Sierra video, that when you have people who have low, and I call them fully loaded South Nodes, right? Because, your South Node is your comfort zone. It's your past life experiences and tendencies. And of course, in this lifetime, you have a karmic responsibility to evolve past them. I mean, you don't necessarily have to completely do away with them 100%, but for the most part, engaging in that South Node behavior is going to bring you about some very hard times. Okay, you finna make life unnecessarily harder for yourself. And also, let me clarify this. It's not to say that all Cancer South Nodes just should avoid having families, but in your brother's case, him having his Cancer sun, right? Men who have their sun in Cancer conjoined to a Cancer South Node, especially their sun and Chiron in Cancer conjoined to that South Node, they need to know. They don't need families. They don't need to be married. And I mean, if he already has children, there's nothing you can do about it, fine. But from this point forward, or some point in his life, he's gonna, I mean, I hope he gets fed up with it, because it's not gonna work out for him. It's never gonna work out for him if he chooses to go that route. Now, alternatively, Capricorn, North Nodes, I mean, especially in the 5th house, is all about, because think about it. Capricorn is the sign of the loner, right? It's very determined and, driven and ambitious. And when you place it in your house of fun, this points towards somebody who in this lifetime needs to spend more time doing the things that help make them them. You know what I'm saying? Doing the things that help to build their ego and to give them a sense of individuality and to help them forge their own path. When, you have the South Node in the opposing house of like that 11th house, is all about the collective, right? And sharing shit and, plugging yourself into what other people got going on. It's not going to work, especially from a family perspective. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. So I hope he comes to realize that for his sake. In his case, it's going to be very hard with his sun conjoined to his Chiron at the 29th degree in, conjoined to his South Node in Cancer. And also that 29th degree also deals with third-party situations. So, I mean, who cheating? They could straight up have infidelity issues. And it also deals with high pressure situations that 29th degree does. So he's going to bump his head, and it's going to be very hard to convince him to either not be married, or even if they break up or divorce and he gets with it. I feel like he's going to constantly find himself like in search for women, in search for a family, in search for a wife. He really needs that. That's very crucial to his identity, his ego, right? With his sun being conjoined to that. And not to say that he can't like mingle or have sex with women, but he is not supposed to be a family man in his lifetime. So it's going to bring him so many issues. Yeah, and with his sun conjoined to Chiron, he's absolutely bound to experience dysfunction anytime he tries to create a family with somebody. And I also forgot to mention, his ascendant is at the 12th degree. And that number 12 deals with victimization and sacrifice. And then when you think about Virgo as a sign, it's a sign of service. It can often feel very much like it gets the short end of the stick, you know what I mean? And I really do feel like he's perhaps even sacrificing part of his identity to be in that marriage. He's definitely not in control. I can tell you that. He's not in the driver's seat of that marriage. So to like pretty much answer your question, I think a lot of that, like he could very well be having financial issues. I don't doubt it. But I also think a lot of it stems from the wife. That wife is a problem. Now, looking at Homegirl's chart, she is a Leo sun, Aries moon. Now, I put in like a placeholder time for her time of birth as 12 a.m. And to be honest, looking at the setup of the chart, it checks out, okay? So according to her being born at 12 a.m., this would make her a Taurus ascendant, which right there makes a lot of sense because Taurus ascendants tend to be very concerned with appearance, luxury, that sense of like elegance, going over the top, but they can also have a very shadowy side to them. And it makes sense because, you know, the descendant for Taurus is Scorpio. And in this case, like I said, let's just assuming that this 12 a.m. birth time is correct. This will place her Pluto in her 7th house of Scorpio. And yeah, that could absolutely make for a crazy bitch. I mean, you know, excuse my French, in a relationship, a woman who is very manipulative, possessive, who dominates her partner. Let me see what aspects this Pluto is making. It's squaring her sun. So she could even be physically abusive. Her sun, and according to this, you know, if she is a Taurus ascendant, Leo would be on her 4th house cusp, which means her sun would be in that 4th house along with her Chiron. her Jupiter and her Mercury, which not only further bolsters the idea that the reason they got that home is because of her, right? Because, Sun or Leo in the fourth house can produce somebody who gains a lot of their self-esteem from, I guess you could say, an ability to create their own castle, right? Because look at it like this, right? Leo's being like the king of the jungle, right? Every king needs their castle, so to speak. So these people take a lot of pride, especially in the fourth house, particularly because that fourth house does deal with homes. They can take a lot of pride in buying a house. I don't know what this house looks like. I know you guys said that you haven't even, you haven't experienced it because you guys never visit, but her family does. But she could absolutely be the type to splurge. Maybe their house is extravagant. Maybe it's way beyond their means. Once again, falling in line with that Leo energy. But this could also, harsh aspects to this sun in the fourth house, makes you a fucking tyrant within the house. It makes you a tyrant to your family. And like I said, I don't know if they have kids, but if they do, best believe they feeling it too. Okay? She's a very dysfunctional person to be around. She can even be egotistical. Like I said, just straight up narcissistic. And that Chiron points to parts of your personality where you feel like exceptions should be made for your behavior, So she can be just very, very loathsome and just shameless in the way that she goes about just dealing with things. And even, let's say, this birth time isn't correct. At the very least, she still has her sun squaring her Pluto, your sun of Leo squaring that Scorpio Pluto. That's still a problem. She's an Aries moon. And once again, even if we're not taking into consideration this birth time, that Aries moon can produce for a very explosive, expressive individual who does not keep their opinions a secret. You know what I'm saying? They can be very much, her moon is squaring her Uranus in Capricorn. So she can be particularly just mean. Like I said, very much a tyrant within the relationship. And not for nothing, she's also a Cancer South Node. And as I stated in that Sierra video that I just did, these lunar nodal relationships are sent straight from Lucifer himself, girl. They will go straight to hell. And it becomes an issue because when you meet somebody whose sun is conjoined to your South Node or one of their, mainly the sun, but it could be even one of their personal planets, it could create a situation to where you guys feel very close. Okay? You feel like, and you guys might even have, or they might even have past life experiences with one another. So they feel like, this is the person who I'm meant to be with. Oh, God made you just for me. But what happens is, as the relationship progresses, they tend to bring the worst out of one another. They tend to bring out and they activate those South Node qualities that, mind you, they're supposed to be outgrowing. So as those South Node experiences and traits make the person more uncomfortable throughout life, the South Node person is going to find maintaining a relationship with that Sun person increasingly difficult. And this could absolutely apply to the sister-in-law with your son, or your brother rather, his son on her South Node. You know what I mean? So it's like a double whammy. His son is on his South Node, his son on her South Node. This is just a hot, dysfunctional relationship from the pits of hell. Her sun is opposing her Saturn, which makes her very hypercritical, right? That kind of reinforces this theme that I'm seeing here of her being very judgmental, her being very serious-minded, placing a lot of demands and expectations on people, and then her even possibly having some damn daddy issues herself, especially with that sun conjoined to her Chiron, okay? She has daddy issues straight up and down. And there could even be issues with the kids. Like if they, assuming they have children, she could even be like a problematic ass mother. So yeah, just all up and down. And then finally, with Cancer, dealing with race, just a little curious because, like, I'm wondering if your brother puts her on a pedestal, maybe because of her mixed race, especially with his fourth house being in Sagittarius. Sagittarius does deal with things that are exotic and different. There's that. But then also, the reason I say this is your brother has Taurus in his ninth house. And remember, as I was stating earlier in the video, Venus rules two signs, and that's Libra and Taurus also. So with the Venus sitting in his first house, but also ruling that second house and ninth house, it could produce somebody who, like, spends a lot of money on the partner and whatnot, or tries to make the partner happy, but particularly somebody who puts the wife, like, on a pedestal. And that ninth house can also deal with, like, things that are exotic, of a different race and culture. But then also Cancer does as well. So I'm even wondering, like, if he should just avoid dating mixed race women altogether. With that just horrendous, South Node get up in Cancer. Yeah, or it could even deal with her having a family that's even racist. So, there are so many components to this but to answer your question, girl, I would say tell him to get out, but I feel like he's not going to listen. Just be there for him because he's definitely going through it. So I hope this resonated. I hope it gave you some much needed insight. You guys be sure to drop a comment down below. And as always, make sure you practice unconditional self-love so you can love others. And until next time, I holla.